Well, hello everybody. I thought I was recording for the last couple minutes, and I wasn't because I forgot to push the damn record button. So Friday evening, hope everybody's doing well. I just had some dinner and thought I'd sit here with my big Dovii for a while. He does not like to stay by the camera, and you can see him taking off, but he's putting on some pretty decent size these days. He's about 4 years old, I think. Hopefully with this new camera we get a pretty good shot of him. He's got decent color for a Dovii. There's lots of blues and greens in his finnage and tons of little spots all over him. He is a 20-incher at this point. He's getting a little thicker, not nearly as big as his papa yet, but he's got some years to catch up. His papa lasted, I think, 13, 14 years, something like that. So he's got another 10 years or so to put on more size. And, whoops, kind of jiggled there. And like most fish, he continues to grow as long as he's alive. So between now and another decade, I think he's got a pretty good chance to catch up to Dad. In the background there, you see a pair of chanchos. Well, at least you see the female hanging around by the various rocks and caves and stuff we have in this 600-gallon plexiglass tank. A couple guys asked me just how old this Dovii is in my last various comments in my last couple videos, and you know, I just turned 65, and it's true what they say: the older you get, time tends to fly. So I thought this guy was maybe 3 years old, but my wife pointed out that you know, Calvin ended up putting this little guy in the tank when he was just a little fry years ago. Calvin is a buddy of mine that was catching fish with me. I've talked about this on various videos in the past, so I don't want to bore everybody, but apparently that was closer to 4 years ago. So this fish is at least 4 years old, a little older than I thought he was. Some of these little spots you're seeing is reflections from various lights and things in the room, so apologize. But I think we're getting some pretty good shots of him. He's sitting still pretty good, and this camera is much better than the old iPod I had, at least if I'm not moving. Once it focuses in, it seems to stay focused pretty well. So that's really all I had. I just thought I haven't done a lot with this particular Dovii, and he is getting pretty impressive these days, I think. I don't do the water changes with this fish that I did with his papa, but I still do a couple of them a week, minimum of 50% on one and maybe 25 on another. And of course, with both water changes, I vacuum the gravel. That's an important thing to mention. You know, a lot of people ask me about water changes and things like that, and it's great to do water changes, but to me, water changes means vacuuming the gravel as well, or the gravel or the sand or whatever the substrate may be, or even if it's a glass, you know, a plain bottom, because that's where most of the bad bacteria develop. That's where all the junk accumulates. And if you really want to keep your nitrates and nitrites down and all that good stuff, you need to vacuum the gravel. So many people do water changes and they can't wonder why, you know, they wonder why their fish still develop diseases, maybe pop eye or hole in the head or cloudy eyes, or, you know, they stop eating. And a lot of that is because you're not vacuuming the gravel. And with a fish like Dovii, it's not as mandatory that you vacuum the gravel all the time. I'm probably just a little overzealous. But the more you do, the better it does. But with some more tricky fish like ornatum or islanum or my Peruvian green terrors, it is vital that you vacuum that gravel a minimum of once a week. 2 or 3 times a week is better. With my new red Dovies in the other room and that tank with the mature green terrors and all those convicts, I'm in there 3 times a week, vacuuming both of those tanks 3 times a week. 50% water changes on both of the tanks once a week, and the other 2 times I vacuum, I'm probably taking out a third to a quarter. So while I've cut back on water changes, I haven't certainly dropped them altogether in any way, shape, or form. Anyway, enough of my rambling. I can't believe how good this Dovie's been today. He's just been sitting here. He never does this, so it's kind of nice to get a long shot of him. But this wasn't meant to be real long, so just thought I'd say hi. And the little red Dovies I'll talk about next time I do a longer video, but I've had them for about a month now, and they are starting to grow. When I do another video, it may be fairly apparent how big how much they've changed in the 1 month that since I've got them. We now have 2 of them that are completely red or white or pinkish or whatever you want to call it. The other 3 are still transitioning, but there's some changes going on there, and so far they've done really well. So we'll talk a little bit more about them next time. Take care, guys.